So to present this panel, we have an expert in global corporate venturing. Is that right? He's chief executive of Novum Insights, a data business focusing on corporate innovation, tracking how large companies partner with startups. He was news editor at Private Equity News, part of Dow Jones, and has been published regularly in the Wall Street Journal, Dow Jones Newswire, Global Corporate Venture, Financial News, blah, 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 everywhere. Just check him on internet, it's amazing. Please, let's all welcome the lovely Tobi Lewis and his panel. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Tobi.
That was quite an introduction, so thanks. So we've got the sort of corporate venturing.
Is it okay? Yeah?
Working now?
Yes.
Cool.
That's it.
Okay, great. So, so I've been very lucky to be tracking how large corporates have been investing in startups for the last 6 years. And it's been a pretty explosive trend. So when at my old business, Global Corporate Venturing, we started tracking corporates, there were probably about 500, 600 corporates that were investing in startups globally. Nowadays, there's about 1,200. And as you'll see from the panel today, there's all sorts of different corporates in Spain, in Europe, all across Silicon Valley, China, Asia, and they're all trying to figure out how they can be partnering with startups or investing with startups. So on the panel, sort of probably the easiest is to introduce from right to left. Suzanna, do you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Suzanna Chiu. I'm the head of Amadeus Ventures, which is the startup investment program of Amadeus IT. If you don't know who Amadeus IT Group is, we're based here in Madrid. We are a technology company for the travel industry. We work with airlines, hotels, travel agencies all around the world. Amadeus Ventures, we invest in early stage startups and on a global basis.
Vitaly?
My name is Vitaly Golomb. I'm based in Palo Alto, where I lead investments globally for HP Tech Ventures. We're the corporate venture arm of Silicon Valley's original startup, HP. We just launched the group in May. We invest globally. We also have a team on the ground in Tel Aviv. And we look at about 50% US, Canada, 25% Israel, 25% everywhere else. I come to Europe quite a lot. And we invest in Series A and B startups in very strategic areas for us at HP currently and in the future. 3D printing, IoT, immersive, and smart machines, so AI, robotics, etc. So HP is now 76 years old, going through yet another transition into kind of next phase that we've done several times before.
Jordi?
Hi, I'm Jordi Escruela from Correos. Correos is the Spanish post company. This is my third year here in the summit, and this is the first time that I can see the people in front of me. Last year it was in Las Vegas, in Las Ventas, with only talking about the screen and to the other sides with people. So, and very quiet place where to talk very well. I don't have the same level of English than from the other side, so I will try to do it in my best way. So I'm in charge of innovation in Correos. We are trying to find disruptive ideas to modify our business. We launched this year the first program that supports entrepreneurs. We are offering funds. We are not investing because we are a public company, so we cannot convert a startup to a public company. We will need to ask permission to our government that we can have someday. And also we are offering space, we are offering services. Yesterday I learned that we are also offering smart money, what is access to our customers, to our infrastructure, to our marketing services. And we're in a learning process. I mean, this is going to be our first year. We are going to invest to just only 5 startups, and with the idea to keep going up to with the project.
And Javier?
Hello, everybody. I am Javier Sánchez from Televisión Española. Our situation is very similar to Correos because we are public, the public media service here in Spain. We have only found official funding by the government. We cannot take a stake in a startup because we have this forbidden law as Correos as well. And we have an initiative of facilitating some startups. It's called Impulsavision, and this is for us the first time we are accelerating four startups in this case. And we are several months with the startups. We are working very close to them, and we are very happy with the experience.
And we're really lucky to have Suzanna, who's probably running one of the more sophisticated Spanish corporate venturing programs. So sort of you're based in Madrid, but dealing with Silicon Valley and globally.
Yeah.
How are you sort of finding dealing with startups?
Sure. We operate on a global basis. So far, we have made 7 investments. Hopefully, I can close 2 more towards the end of the year. And out of the 7, 5 of them are actually based on West Coast US. What we've found out is to work with startups, I need to get in touch with you directly. So what myself and my team do a lot is to go to the different arenas, different shows where we can talk to startups and entrepreneurs with good ideas. And something that is not very obvious as well, like Amadeus Ventures, people think that we are a travel technology company, so you need to be doing something very closely related to travel, quite similar to Booking.com or the next Expedia, which is absolutely not the case. We are looking for technology that is going to transform travel. So at the end, we are looking for things that are quite similar to my colleague here. Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, underlying technology that has an impact to travel. Those are the topics that we are interested in. But at the same time, the business ideas or change of business models that can have an impact to travel as well. So we talk a lot. We, on average, talk to a startup per day. And through that, we develop direct relationship. And that is very key for corporate ventures because we treasure a direct relationship with the startups and we want to do things together. And so, yeah, hard work and sweat.
Yeah, no, and we've got the rather nice title for this panel of Friend or Foe, Nailing Corporate Venture. So essentially, some startups can think it's distrust working with a large corporation historically. Should startups be friends or foes of corporations, Vitaly?
Well, definitely whoever gives you money is not your foe. Right? So, but understand that there's a big difference between institutional venture capital and corporate venture capital. So CVCs, corporate venture, invest, primarily for strategic reasons. So HP is a company that produces about $1 billion of revenue per week, right? About over 50 billion a year. So the precipice to create a venture arm is not necessarily for financial returns, because it would take several unicorns a year for our little group to be noticed inside such a large company. But it is something that we bring into the fold, and a lot of the products that we plan and the categories that we plan to be in, we support the companies in those spaces. So for example, we sell into 178 countries through 250,000 channel partners. So it's a little bit of a channel. So if we take on a product and we take a company into our portfolio, we certainly help them get to market. We get into specialty markets as well. So Global Health Group, for example, sells into the clinical channel. So if you're in digital health, there are some companies here I know by name very well that are in that space. That's a great channel, and you can skip a year or two of trying to create your own marketing and sales effort, right? Same thing with education, same thing with a number of different verticals that we're very active in. We also know a little bit about manufacturing and have contract manufacturer relationships. So if you're building a hardware product, we can certainly be your friend and help you get there much faster, much cheaper. So I would say definitely friend. And this whole notion of foe, if you're afraid that a big company is going to steal your idea, then you're really thinking about it the wrong way. First of all, most venture groups kind of firewall their venture operations from their other main business unit operations. That's one. The other side is that if your idea can be replicated just by knowing about it, then maybe you don't have enough defensibility to begin with, right? There's not enough market advantage for you there. So I don't know if I answered your question there.
Definitely, Vitaly. So, and Jordi, sort of coming from your sort of post at Correos, I was quite interested.
Remember that you have to use very easy understanding questions. So
Okay, yeah,
will help
I
on
will
that.
do, of course. I was interested, you were talking about how you are investing in, working alongside drone companies and other very innovative technologies like 3D printing, which surprised me in some ways. So I was just interested, what are you doing?
Actually, we are doing open innovation, and as I said, we are looking for disruptive ideas. All the new technologies can change the whole world. I mean, blockchain is going to change logistics and the way that both sides is going to relate it. Okay. So we have to invest time on that. 3D printing, I mean, we are not like HP that they are manufacturers of printers, but we are delivering goods that maybe the 3D printing is going to change the whole process. So we are investing in find the way to create platforms where to connect the new users to the new producers. So, and we want to be part of this, we want to be part of players. Internet of Things, we've been doing a lot of projects, well, we're not a lot, we are starting to do projects in smart cities, means using our postman as a sensors, and then startup develop a device that to be placed in our trawler and to measure the air pollution, so and map the city about that. So, and then if we go to the last mile, we are automating the last mile and looking for solutions based on share economy. So we have to be open-minded. I mean, we have to be friends, but also it's a threat. I mean, share economy, we have to find the balance between to share our ideas, or then maybe it's going to change the whole business model. So, and I also want to ask the question about if it's friend or foe. I think this is we are creating an environment. So, and we will find sharks and dolphins there. So, some of the whole species in the environment are going to be friends, and the other are going to be foes in both sides. So you have to benchmark very well who is in the other side, talking from the startup point of view and talking from the corporate point of view. Because if you are a startup, you're only going to have one shot, so you have to take the good choice and to find your friend.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, and following on from sort of Jordi's point, earlier we were discussing, sort of prepping for this panel, the sort of businesses like Airbnb and Uber have been quite sort of transformative to Amadeus's core business. How are you sort of, how do you think about venturing related to that?
Right, like it's a question that has been well discussed. Should the corporate venture fund be investing in an idea that is going to be your competitor? The reality is I received proposals from entrepreneurs that call themselves the GDS of the next generation. So I'm going to disrupt your business, so you better invest in me right now. So it is happening. The future is too difficult to tell, like that nobody can foresee the future. So is it going to be a success? Is it going to be a failure? There are too many factors affecting the outcome of a particular idea. So yes, if there is something relevant, we would definitely invest in an idea and let's go down the journey together. Like let's shape the future together. And so we would like to participate in new ideas. We would like to participate in transformations in our business.
And Javier, we were joking before that you've got a lot of value add because you can put people on television. But sort of so do you view yourself as a friend to startups?
Well, this is we try to be a friend to the startups. We are a public broadcaster, and you may know that the audiovisual sector is evolving at a high speed. We have identified several key points for this evolution of the audiovisual sector. As you probably know, the internet consumption of an audiovisual content is growing up. The way of making TV programs is evolving because everything is going to the IP world. So innovation is absolutely essential for all the broadcasters, not only in Europe, in the world. Yeah, and the ecosystem is changing. There are new players. There are some key aspects that we are starting to deal with them. And as you may know, Radio Televisión Española has not all the media, all the acknowledgement about all the things, and there's a lot of talent outside of our company. And with this initiative, we try to attract this talent in very useful fields for Radio Televisión Española. So in this sense, we thought to create an initiative for entrepreneurship, and we wanted to attract professionals and small companies to Radio Televisión Española. And the decision for the finalists of this competition, that we had the first edition of this competition, was made by the areas inside Radio Televisión Española, who is what they are dealing every day with innovation. And this is very important because the results of the projects had to be useful, both of Radio Televisión Española as a global objective, as well as the particular areas that are dealing. And the application of these projects had to be clearly perceived by the final consumer, in this case, the citizens. And this is very important for a public service like Radio Televisión Española. I think we are friends of the startups. Our model is very collaborative. We do not take part in the stake of the startup because, as we told you, public sector in Spain has no permission to take a part in the stake because a public company will be taking decisions in a private company. So this is quite odd here in Spain. And this is our. The startups are very happy with us. Our relation is very friendly, and we try to not only to give mentoring and information and involve with the projects. We also want to know a large public broadcaster like Radio Televisión Española from inside, and to take the opportunity of knowing what are the processes inside.
Really interesting. So the trend of corporates partnering in startups, I think, is only going to get sort of bigger and bigger and more sophisticated in some ways. So so our business has set out to track how the corporates are partnering with startups. And one of the people who's been advising me on what we're trying to do essentially says that like his big chip company that he worked for in corporate VC, simply announcing that they were going to partner with a startup in a press release could add $500,000 to the market cap of that startup overnight. But at the same time, corporates aren't the easiest groups to engage with necessarily for a startup. So how can a startup reach out to you?
Right, I think I mentioned some of that before. So if you want to reach a corporate venture fund, sending us emails is not going to work. So we have too many emails. The best way to get in touch with us is find us in one of these events, try to talk to us directly, find a colleague of ours who are willing to endorse your ideas and put them forward to us. In corporate funds, typically we have too few people having to filter too many ideas. And for Amadeus Ventures, we're looking at an end-to-end service for our startups, meaning that it is not about just screening the startups, investing in the startups, but actually helping them to navigate the hierarchy of Amadeus post-investment. So making sure that we deliver our promise to the startups that we invest in, that we will be doing collaborations together, that we show you in our customer events, that we put you into our solutions. So in a way, the value that we would like to deliver to our portfolio companies is actually quite wide. But so that means that we don't have too much time. And so the most important thing is get someone to endorse you, get in touch with us directly, keep your pitch really short and sharp, and that would be the advice.
And the kind of gatekeepers are the business units and the VC community as well, or?
As well. Like business, for Amadeus, we work with all our regions. So we have a global business, which means that we have eyes and ears on the ground in almost every single country in the world. So if you are a startup having a good idea, like talking to one of our local offices, and we talk to them on a regular basis to exchange ideas. So the venture fund vehicle, it's about investing, collaboration with startups. At the same time, it's about getting to know what's going on. So we work very closely with our business units. We work very closely with the ecosystem as well.
And generally, Amadeus is looking at quite advanced entrepreneurs, sort of follow on to Series A, so early stage, but sophisticated.
Yes, follow on C to A. Yeah, that's where we look on.
And Vitaly?
I'd say something similar. I mean, ultimately, it's a relationship business that you're getting yourself into, and you have to build the relationships. And sure, we get a lot of emails and get a lot of messages and in every medium you can imagine. And it's very difficult to get through that. So a couple of things. First of all, try to find a warm connection and warm introduction. And when you're fundraising, and I know this is popular in Europe, like always fundraising and always going to conferences and always doing this. But raising a round, if you're doing it properly, is very much like enterprise sales. You make your list of prospects, you turn them into connections through warm introductions, and you kind of work the funnel as quickly as you can. That's really the proper way to raise money. And when you're reaching out to corporate VCs, understand that the area of interest is very, very narrow compared to financial investors. Excuse me. So it's very important for you to understand what kind of message you need to send and understand what business the company is in. You're not going to understand everything that the company is doing, everything the company is interested in, but usually we try to be as explicit as possible to attract the right types of startups. In our case also, we invest a little bit later. It's Series A, Series B. So we participate in rounds that are somewhere from $3 to $25 million. And we co-invest usually with top-tier financial investors. So we like to kind of tag along with them until we get to a point when we're kind of a young corporate venture fund as it goes. At some point we'll be leading rounds, but at this point we're participating in those rounds. So if we really like something and it's very relevant to us, we will drag you along to one of our partners as far as financial institutions that we invest in. Also understand, kind of going back to a previous question, I think it's an important point is for you to understand that you will never beat a large company at their own game, right? The idea is, why do corporates do innovation programs? It's because the corporates were at some point a startup, in our case, 76 years ago, in some cases a little bit before that, or after that. But the idea is that these companies get on a certain trajectory based on kind of the vintage or the era when that company was started and the state of technology at that point, right? So these businesses and business models are built around a particular era of technology, right? Which gets to a maturity and becomes stagnant. Then there's new opportunities, new S-curves, new innovation, new innovative technologies that come about, and large companies are not necessarily looking there. They're not investing there, right? Because they're so invested in operating their existing business. This is your opportunity to come in with a solution for the same old stupid problem, but in a much faster, cheaper, better way, right? And that's how you can actually plug in. And you're working on a completely different business model, solving the same problem that a corporate might be, right? As you've experienced, right? So there are a few companies that are good at disrupting themselves. So Facebook is always going to be the next Facebook, And they've proved that nobody's able to disrupt them because they move so fast. All the other corporates are trying to do this, sometimes very knowingly, sometimes not so knowingly. It's kind of a reflex that the C-suite knows, well, we need to do some innovation programs, something with startups. It's kind of catchy, buzzwordy, etc. So think about that. So when you're approaching corporates, understand how you would plug into their world, right? And what's the right message, and then get a warm introduction to the right person. So you do have to do a lot of homework and have the right ask. What are you looking for to get from the company? Not just give us money because nobody else will, because guess what? You're not going to get it from us either, if that's your ask. But if you're doing a great round and you're asking for the corporate for specific help that a financial VC cannot give you, right? Access to market, etc., distribution, usually, that's the right ask, and that will get you a meeting, right?
And we're coming up towards sort of 5 minutes towards the end, so if anyone has any questions, just feel free to put up your hand. But it's quite a technical issue, corporate VC, so I can understand that. Here we have one. I can repeat if you want.
So my question is about friend or foe for startups. But my question is about seems to work. Yeah. Okay. My question is about how do financial investors perceive you as a corporate? Because in their mind, there's an exit somewhere, and acquisition is one possibility.
Yes.
So if you're early on in the company, in a startup investing, then there's not a problem, but there's something in question. So how do you deal with that? Is that any problem? Do you have examples?
There's a certain signaling risk, right? So we have to be very careful what kind of signal we send when we get involved with the company. It's very important to understand what it means for them. So I've been at HP for 6 months. It's my first time in a large company in my entire career. I was doing funds, accelerators and things, and 3 of my own companies before that. So I still very much taste the blood in my mouth. So one of the things important to me, and I've cautioned my team, is to be very careful about the signaling risk that we provide, right? So if we're getting into a startup that we know the business, so for example, we are in the 3D printing business already, right? So if we get involved with a 3D printing company, and they go to financial VCs and go, hey, HP is coming in, and we didn't really commit yet, right? We have to be very careful. And then we don't go through with the investment for some reason, it might destroy their entire round, right? Because all the financial VCs are like, uh-oh, the experts in the field are not going through with these guys, something's wrong. So we have to be very careful and walk very carefully. Smart entrepreneurs will have multiple corporates involved throughout the life cycle of the company. So maybe somebody at Series A, somebody at Series B, and that way they create leverage for themselves. So if they are going for acquisition at some point, they actually have 2 stakeholders inside already on the cap table, on the board maybe even, fighting for this deal, right? So it's very tricky, and you have to be very careful about what kind of message you send as entrepreneurs. I would caution you, bring the corporates in as kind of the last piece of the puzzle, and don't rely on corporates alone. Corporates move really slow, things change that have nothing to do with you, that might destroy the deal, so you got to be very, very careful. So it's a very good question, and I would really caution you when you're getting corporates involved for those reasons.
Yeah, on my side, we have co-invested with financial investors quite a lot, and we do send a very strong signaling effect in the area that we operate in travel. If we say that Amadeus Ventures is in, it says something, and we've got deals that very good startups already have the round done, so coming back to us to say our financial investors want you in. So I think the market understands that we can bring customer, we can bring reach. So there are certain values that a strategic investor is definitely putting into the equation. And what is important there is the willingness to cooperate and the willingness to be aligned. We have exited one of our investments, Capify, which is the mobility Uber-like company here in Spain. So we would not stop a company from moving on if that is what they want to do. Like, I think as a corporate, I'm not building an M&A pipeline for me. Like, I'm doing the right thing for the entrepreneurs. And so if that is the better path for them, we facilitate that to happen. So I think it is the demonstration of that willingness to be cooperative and for building value for everyone at stake. And then the financial pieces will understand that, oh, this is how this ventures operates, and they know like how to deal with us overall on an ongoing basis. So.
Great. So we're just beginning to wrap up. So
I think
so we're going to wrap up.
That's it. Okay, they're wrapping up. Are they wrapping up or?
We're wrapped up.
Wrap
wrap
up.
up?
We're wrapped up.
Sorry about that, but we have the second part of our startup competition coming on, and there's a lot of excited people there. But thank you to Javier, Jordi, Vitaly, Suzanna, and our moderator star, Tobi Lewis. Thank you.
Thank you.